In mid-February, NASA sent its most advanced rover yet, called Perseverance, to the Red Planet. The rover will conduct several experiments, including searching for the presence of potential signs of past life on Mars. And the rover didn't travel alone. It has an interesting companion called Ingenuity, which will be the first helicopter to fly on another planet. But why would you send a helicopter to Mars? NASA's helicopter is an engineering experiment to see if it can achieve flight in Mars's thin atmosphere and survive the planet's harsh conditions. Jack Singal is an associate professor of physics at the University of Richmond, where he studies astrophysics. He also worked for a time at the NASA Goddard Center. He explained why it's so hard to fly on Mars.
So the way that wings work, they come along and they push air molecules downward. And because of Newton's third law, equal and opposite force, the air molecules are then pushing on the wings upward. And that is where aeronautical lift comes from.
But, Singal says, in the vacuum of space, flight with wings as it's achieved on Earth won't work.
Now, the atmosphere of Mars is not totally empty. There are molecules there. Mars has an atmosphere, but there's far fewer molecules than there are in the Earth's atmosphere, and along with that, it's much lower pressure. You'd have to essentially push harder.
Ingenuity was built to be light, with large blades that spin much faster than they would need to on Earth to achieve lift. To test it, engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory spent 5 years trying the helicopter out in space simulators.
NASA has giant vacuum chambers. These are rooms that they can seal off and then pump all the air out of to simulate the airlessness of space, to see what effect that has on spacecraft components. But they could also use it to achieve the pressure approximately that's on the atmosphere of Mars.
And while the helicopter could provide a sort of interplanetary Wright brothers moment, the mission's main purpose is to see what chemicals and microscopic structures are on the red planet, some of which could suggest the presence of ancient microbial life. Singal says what the rover finds could tell us about possible life on other planets, called exoplanets, that exist outside our solar system.
For centuries, people asked the question, do the other stars have planets? And until about 25 years ago, we had absolutely no answers to that. And then around then, some discoveries started trickling in. In general, these are not seen directly through a telescope, but their presence is inferred in a number of ways. As of about 15 years ago, a handful of exoplanets were known. In the past, especially decade, there's been discovery of thousands of exoplanets.
Some of these exoplanets look a lot like Mars, Singal says, based on their size, temperature, and distance from their star. If the conditions for life are found on Mars, that could mean these Mars-like planets outside our solar system may also have supported life at one time.
Knowing what's out there on Mars would be some step towards telling us, okay, how ubiquitous are these building blocks for life on all of these different thousands of planets that are out there now that we know of, and the many, many thousands more that are certainly out there that we haven't seen yet.